historic times for us here as we careen our way into the Emerald Square Mall. Here we are at Emerald Square Mall, one of my personal favorites. John, if you'd be so kind as to pan over to the Emerald Square.
Don't say my name.
We are here in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Haven't been here since last summer with, of course, well, I guess legally I guess not, the Crystal Mall, as you'll see in just a moment. Going through this really neat-looking neon green entrance. Check it out for tonight, everybody. Here we are at the 7th stop of Mall Tour 2018, going to an old favorite. Of course, it is Emerald Square Mall. It's not the biggest mall, it's probably not even the best mall, but it is always one of my favorites. Been on every mall tour since 2009. Square Mall. Proud to have you back here. Everybody who watches Bowie Productions, all three of you, check it out. The North Attleboro.
I can't wait to tour this mall.
Yeah, we're going to tour the park. All right. We got a couple other guests who are legal reasons anonymous. And yeah, that's all I can really say for right now. Let's check out Emerald Square for the final time, Mall Tour 2020. Shall we talk? In my last mall tour rant, I mentioned how the final tour of West Farms Mall kind of left me feeling a little, well, nostalgic, for lack of a better word. It did finally dawn on me that it was my last time to West Farms, a mall that I've toured, well, counting this year now 4 times. And, well, that feeling, of course, was more evident than ever when I went to Emerald Square Mall not too long ago. And, of course, that video has been released recently, and it was the 8th mall tour of 2020. But more importantly, it was yet another mall tour for Emerald Square, which is now the only mall to appear on every season of the mall tour. And thanks to this last occurrence, that will be cemented as well. So, Emerald Square Mall, for those of you who don't know, is a pretty nice mall in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. It's one of my favorite malls to go to, in case you haven't noticed. I've been there a variety of times. I've been there during Christmas time. I've been there during the day, during the night. I've had just a ton of great times there. Going to the food court, going to Bertucci's, going with a variety of different people in my life. That's how long back this mall goes. Technically, my first time ever going there was back in 2005. But that's another story for another day. So Emerald Square Mall, was no, small thing for me, even though it is a fairly small mall. But kind of looking back at this past mall tour of Emerald Square, it was pretty good, but, I say pretty good because this actually was the first mall on the tour so far since the post-pandemic reboot that seemed to have an effect from the pandemic, which, every mall has had some effect from it. Some things were kind of quirky, but this mall especially, Emerald Square, had some stuff, and I'm not talking about having to wait in line to get in some of the stores, because that was a thing too. But notably the food court. Seeing the food court abandoned and basically, didn't have that many restaurants to begin with, but 3 of the, I think, 8 restaurants were closed for good, including Burger King, which ironically is where we ate our food. That was a bit of a downer. As was just seeing some of the other stores I liked either closed or restricted. And in general, the mall just didn't have that same liveliness to it that it usually does, but it was still Emerald Square Mall, and it was still a lot of fun to go to, and I got to go again with John, and Dane, who hasn't appeared on the mall tour since 2009, so that was a nice touch. But, for better or worse, this is the final mall tour of Emerald Square, or is it? So I did consider this idea, just based on the fact that, like I said, it was a really fun mall tour. And to be honest, after you've been to a mall, like I think I've been to Emerald Square Mall like 9 or 10 times now, after you've been to a mall that many times, you kind of know what you're getting. The only things I really missed out on were the arcade that was closed and, I don't know, the escape room and a couple other things. But generally, the big toy vault I still got to go to, Josh's Toys and Games, Newberry Comics, all the stores that I usually hit at that mall I got to see. The mall itself obviously was unchanged structurally. But let's just say that if the opportunity came up in the 2021 portion of the tour to hit Emerald Square again, I might not say no. And it's going to depend on a number of factors. So if, and hopefully this will be the case, if in 2021, this, pandemic is, I don't want to say past us, but at least enough past us that we can see greater changes, I would love to go back to Emerald Square Mall and see it more like its usual self. Now, don't get me wrong. The 8th mall tour of 2020 was still incredibly fun. I hit a number of stores with John, Dane, and John. And, we all had our really funny moments. It was still a great mall tour. Also, and I mentioned this on a previous mall tour rant, it wasn't quite the same without Kevin and Ryan, who have been on a couple of tours to that mall with me. So, again, if the opportunity arises in 2021, and this obviously isn't a huge priority, but it is a possibility, so I'm just putting it out there, Mall Tour 2021, even though it's still the same season, could see a return to Emerald Square Mall, which would be really funny, because it would be the only time that a mall has appeared twice in the same season And if any mall was going to do that, it would be Emerald Square. I'm not saying for sure that's going to happen, which is why I, basically positioned this to be the final mall tour of Emerald Square. And as far as I'm concerned, it is, but I'm just leaving that door at least slightly open that 2021 could see a return to it. But I'd be curious to know what your thoughts were. How did you like the final mall tour video of Emerald Square Mall, if that is indeed the finale? And of course, I gave this dramatic speech at the end, so it certainly seems that way. But how did you like the Mall Tour 2020 video of Emerald Square? Would you be for or against a return in 2021? Does it really matter? Or, might it be worth a return trip? I'm honestly on the fence about it, so I'm asking you. It's not a hypothetical. I actually am asking, is it worth going back to just for one last hurrah after the last hurrah? But either way, I appreciate you guys for watching the Mall Tour videos. I appreciate your comments, your support as the Mall Tour season keeps on going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Mall Tour video or rant. See you then.